Now, whilst I have a tried and tested skincare routine, there are times when even I can't keep control of my skin because I'm overwhelmed. Now, I'm a busy woman. I have two businesses, and working as an influencer means that when I get overwhelmed, I cope, but it's often at the expense of my skin. So key concerns are things like breakouts and redness and dark circles, all of which are exacerbated when you're stressed out and you don't sleep. And for me, sleep has always been this thing that, is a great barometer of how I'm doing. If I'm not doing well, then I'm not sleeping. So I've developed my own personal strategy with a focus on four key things to promote wellness in me, which is my way, I guess, of taking care of myself, but ultimately has a knock-on effect on my skin and breaks that knackered, overwhelmed skin cycle. So here we go. So the first thing I do when I realize I'm getting into that kind of critical DEFCON 1 state is to eat to calm inflammation. Now, I did do a video on this previously where I talked about what I eat for glowy skin. But in this instance, it really is about harnessing anti-inflammatory foodstuffs. And that means gravitating towards the likes of sweet potato and spices, blueberries, apples, tomatoes, carrots. There's a cat spat going on over there. And basically sort of getting lots and lots of antioxidants into my diet that will have that quenching effect on free radical generation. I mean, really, boys? And I think the thing is that your diet is often the first thing to go when you get busy. Your delivery orders start to creep up. But that is a call to action for me. It is a sign I need to stock my fridge with, leafy greens, things that are colorful, some great quality oily fish. And I've really tried to cut my consumption of meat down of late and to focus on just a good quality piece of fish a couple of times a week. And when I eat like that, I don't really feel the need for much in the way of supplementation, although I do always take a vitamin D supplement. Actually, I found that my vitamin D levels were quite low over the pandemic. So I've been on a higher dose. I actually take 3,000 units a day now. But in general, I eat to get my nutrition. So the next thing is to manage stress in context of my mind. Now, I've talked about this quite a lot on social media. I mean, literally, they are going nuts. But for me, meditation has really been a key practice, and I follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I'll link to him down below. But essentially, he encourages a style of meditation that involves visualizing the future and really kind of pulling away from spending too much time noodling in the past. And I found that to be very powerful. I read his book first before starting to use his meditation style. And I love it, actually. It's fantastic. And then the other thing I will do to manage stress in my mind is to get things on paper. I've talked about this a lot. It's quite fundamental for me, is using the Brendon Burchard High Performance Planner, which allows for a bit of freestyle writing, but is also quite a structured way of planning your day, anticipating kind of road bumps ahead that you can anticipate just with a little bit of forethought, and generally just getting you in that optimum mindset so that you approach your day, with enthusiasm and energy. So the combination of those two things, and then at nighttime writing out, things in the day that have been challenging, things that have been fantastic, and then having a couple of key points of gratitude that I reflect on. Oftentimes, I'm more rigorous about my morning practice than I am about my evening practice. But when I'm stressed, I try to take that 15 minutes in the evening because, again, getting thoughts out on paper often mean you're going to sleep with a lot less on your mind. Now, when it comes to managing stress in my body, I have a variety of things that I've been trying of late. So yin yoga is something that I have been trying to build into my everyday, yoga practice for some time. And I've now started doing classes online just because, sometimes it's not so convenient to get to a class. Your work is overrun, but you don't want to miss out on it. And I really do find it to be a great way of switching off completely from work. And I tend to spend, because I spend a lot of time on the computer, on my phone, I get tremendous amounts of tension in my upper shoulder. This is crazy today, guys. I'm sorry about this. So my right shoulder is almost always in some sort of state of, you know, trigger points and tension. And I don't see that changing unless I suddenly decide to, you know, leave my jobs. And my right hip from an old athletics injury when I was a hurdler when I was younger. So the combination of those two things that mean that my right side of my body is frequently in a kind of state of, you know, high tension. So yin yoga allows for myofascial release, which I think is really key. So rather than being a dynamic form of yoga, you sit in poses for upwards of 3 minutes. And I'll often combine them with these things, which are called Franklin balls. And I discovered these on a holiday in Costa Rica. And you use them to target trigger points. If you have tension along the edge of your scapula, or you get tension in your glutes, this is a really great way to release them. And you can find videos online. I'll link to a couple of options that show you how to use these. But it's really quite profound in terms of getting that release in those areas that we all tend to hold tension in. So I'd really encourage these. You can get these on Amazon. And then I have a bolster. I'll often just come home and lay along the bolster. It just allows, you know, everything to decompress, the front body to open, and just take the weight off the posterior chain of muscles, which are so often in a state of, you know, high tension. And particularly for me, with being in clinic and injecting, the right side of my body is under oftentimes quite a lot of prolonged tension and stress. So yeah, those techniques, myofascial release with the balls and yin yoga, have really helped me transition from work to being at home, to unwinding in a way that then facilitates falling asleep. And then when it comes to the ultimate, which is getting to sleep effectively, because I know that I need a good 7 hours of sleep to really feel well in myself and to approach the day with the right mindset that I want. Anything less than that, I get a bit anxious. So I find that the 3-2-1 approach is really what really helps. And that basically is 3 hours before bed, not eating. So you have your last meal a good 3 hours before you're due to go to sleep. That you switch off from work 2 hours before you're due to go to sleep. And that there's no technology for the hour before going to sleep. You just spend some time, it might be chilling with your kids or pet, partner, and reading, and just slowing everything down for a good hour before you go to sleep. And things will happen much easier when it comes to nodding off. The other thing I like doing is a yoga nidra session, which is really a sort of progressive body relaxation technique that also uses a bit of visualization to help you switch off if you are an overthinker. There's quite a few different tools to use there, but I do think that once your body gets to know the rhythm, that really does help with switching off, getting ready for a good night's sleep, and, you know, getting to sleep quickly. So those are the 4 ways that I approach wellness that has a positive impact on how I'm feeling and how I manage stress and how I sleep, and then has a knock-on effect on my skin. I hope these kind of videos are helpful, that they give you a slightly different take on skin health and things that you can do to improve the way your skin looks and the way you feel. And if you liked it, please make sure you've hit the bell and subscribed for more content like this. And I'll see you guys soon for the next video. Bye for now.